As many of you know, extreme weather events like heat waves or wildfires are becoming more frequent. For example, ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica are also melting very quickly. As a result, the average sea level rises and floods low-lying countries and cities in coastal regions. In addition, the average surface temperature on Earth is 1.1 degrees higher than in the pre-industrial period between 1850 to 1900. Here you might think that 1 degree is little, but as you can see, this already has fatal effects on our climate. However, based on various scientific findings, it can be said that these events are clearly due to man-made climate change. You're probably asking yourself the question how it got this far. In this video, we'll take a closer look at how it came to be and what events contributed significantly to it. So are you excited to know more about it? Well then stay tuned. Hello everyone and welcome back to Universe Daily. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss any updates. To understand the circumstances, let's first go back to 1850. Eunice Newton Foote, an amateur scientist and women's rights activist who lived in New York upstate, placed two glasses in the sunlight. One of the glasses was filled with nitrogen, oxygen, and other gases. The other glass was filled only with carbon dioxide. Foote observed that the glass with carbon dioxide alone warmed up much faster and it was much harder to cool down. In one of her papers, she wrote, "An atmosphere of that gas would give to our Earth a high temperature." In the time around the turn of the 19th century, people began to have a greater impact on the atmosphere. At this time, especially the Industrial Revolution in Great Britain began to gain momentum. Factories burned tons of coal. Steam engines powered by fossil fuels revolutionized transportation, and new industries emerged. For the first time, more gases were released into the Earth's atmosphere. CO2 emissions were getting higher and higher, but hardly anyone was paying attention to the increase. In 1958, geochemist Charles David Keeling began setting up high-precision CO2 meters both in Antarctica and on the Hawaiian volcano Mauna Loa. Soon he had to stop the station in the Arctic due to lack of funds, but the measurement station on Mauna Loa remained. This resulted in one of the most famous data sets in science, the so-called Keeling curve. This Keeling curve reflects the increase in atmospheric CO2. The curve quickly showed that the CO2 content of the Earth's atmosphere was increasing faster and faster from year to year. The smaller curves are due to the fact that plants absorb CO2 during growth in spring and summer and release it again during decomposition in fall and winter. This creates the sawtooth pattern, but generally, an exponential increase can be seen. It is also worth mentioning that the Keeling curve has been featured in numerous documentaries on climate change, as well as in earth science textbooks. Year after year, the curve continues to rise. Currently, the value is about 418 ppm. For comparison, before the Industrial Revolution, the CO2 content was about 280 ppm. A further source to prove the development of the climate on Earth are ice cores, which can be taken from ice sheets like the one on Greenland. Every year, snow falls on the ice, forming a new layer of ice that reflects the climatic conditions at the time of its formation. In the early 1960s, scientists began to read these ice cores. Scientists were also able to read serious changes in climate from the ice cores. Further evidence of climate change is provided by Earth observation satellites. These have been providing data since the 1960s. From their position in Earth orbit, they have been able to measure the rise in global sea levels with millimeter precision. Currently, sea levels is rising by about 3.5 millimeters per year. This rise in sea level is mainly due to the warming of the water and the associated expansion of the water, but also due to the fact that more icebergs are melting. The sea level is rising. In 1974, scientists discovered another major global environmental threat, the Antarctic ozone hole. This also has some parallels to climate change. Chemists Mario Molina and Frank Sherwood Rowland of the University of California reported that chlorofluorocarbons used in products such as aerosol cans and refrigerants trigger a chain of reactions that gnaw at the protective ozone layer of the atmosphere. The resulting hole in the ozone layer that forms over Antarctica each spring allows more ultraviolet radiation from the sun to pass through the Earth's atmosphere to the Earth's surface, where these rays can cause skin cancer and eye damage. While each country has its own approach to the challenge of addressing climate change, the U.S. has significantly delayed climate action. This has been achieved primarily through sophisticated efforts to downplay and criticize the science. Even today, statistics show that the U.S. releases by far the most emissions into the Earth's atmosphere. However, there are also many positive examples. Many European countries, such as Germany, have aggressively pushed renewable energies, including wind and solar power, while activists such as Swedish teenager Greta Thunberg have pressured their governments to take more action on climate change. All in all, the consequences of climate change are fatal. Changes are often taking place faster than scientists had suspected even a few decades ago. Our oceans are becoming more acidic as they absorb more CO2. This in turn damages tiny marine organisms that are the basis for the marine food web. Warmer water is also causing coral reefs to bleach. Higher temperatures on land are causing animal and plant species to move into areas where they did not live before, increasing the risk of extinction for many. No place on this planet is unaffected by climate change. In many areas, increased temperatures have already led to major droughts that dry out vegetation and increase the risk of wildfires. Increased temperatures are thawing permafrost and destabilizing buildings and roads. Various villages, such as the Inupiat village of Shishmaref, are in danger of sinking into the sea. It should now be clear to everyone how man-made climate change could occur and what fatal consequences it brings. Therefore, it is even more important that everyone takes countermeasures and helps to stop climate change. You can find out which measures are particularly suitable in one of our other videos. What do you think is the best way to stop the climate change now? Let us know in the comments below, and most importantly, if you want to be updated on every single topic related to science, then you should consider subscribing to the channel, pressing the bell icon, and see you in the next one. Until then, peace.